Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about the three brains of the mind, and essentially what this is, is the concept of the unconscious, subconscious, and conscious mind, and their place or role in the whole complete mind of the organism that is a human being. And within this organism that we have a field, we have an electromagnetic field, and that's generated by major organs as well as on the very small scale of the cell. And this collective electromagnetic field is going to serve as a great representation of the mind, different kind of levels of the mind. Of course, this is an overviewing archetypal kind of view, but I think this will serve you in some way, shape, or form. So, in the polarity of each electromagnetic field, we have a dynamic of positive and negative, and we see that in the globe, in the Earth. It has a North Pole and a South Pole, and these two are opposing each other in magnetic frequency, so that it can maintain a solid construction. And the same goes with the human being. This, of course, is just a representation, but the conscious mind is, those things that we are able to control, like what we say, what we do, how we interact with the world. So the conscious mind is very thinking brain oriented. It's very mind a lot of brain activity is going on for us to be conscious, right? Because when we are unconscious, we go to sleep and we are not aware of our waking bodies and our waking state and what we can do here and now. So, the conscious mind has a dynamic with the subconscious mind, and the subconscious is all those experiences and information is all stored within the subconscious mind, and everything you've experienced is known to you throughout your whole life. It is known to you in the subconscious mind, and you can access it, maybe not from very readily or easily by your conscious awareness, but the deeper you dive into the subconscious, which is, it can be very adventurous, and it's quite a journey, and hypnotherapy is a great way to do that. There's many other ways, but you can also program your subconscious so that your conscious mind is more adept and aware of what your intentions are. And those are just techniques, and there's no one size fits all for everybody. So everybody will have different resonance with different modalities and techniques, but essentially is what I'm getting at here is the subconscious mind is involved in things that we don't necessarily we know about at first, right? We make a conscious decision, and then at some point it kind of gets swept under the rug, right? Like it goes and starts to go into a pattern, and it starts to default as a reoccurring phenomenon, such as an addiction, for instance. If you start to smoke a cigarette consciously, it's going to be pretty terrible. But after a while, it gets so ingrained in your subconscious that it becomes natural to you, and it becomes something that you don't have to think about with your conscious mind anymore. It becomes a program, becomes a belief system, it becomes a thought construct. So the subconscious is very powerful, and it's very definitely more powerful than conscious mind. And the whole idea is to bridge those two so that there's less of a gap in between. So just for the sake of this example, I'm going to talk about how the conscious mind is kind of that expressive, dominant. I will venture off to say that it's the male energy that is the outflowing, outpouring kind of outward force. And to a point, if we look at the sun, okay, the sun is an outpouring of energy. It's an outpouring of photons and photonic particles, which are light particles, and it goes out into the universe, right? And it goes out to the very extension, and it goes out, and out, farther and farther, and then to a certain point, usually, at the end of its gravitational field, which is much larger than what science has recognized, the gravitational field of the sun, because the light goes out much farther. So the photons actually extend for parsecs and light years ahead. So anyway, what I'm getting at is there's a point where the star's light extends so far that it starts to reach its ending point, wiggling and trying to get to the end, and then at a point it starts to go under and cliff and come back in on itself. This is definitely the magnetism that we see. If the conscious energy is if the conscious and subconscious were to be compared to electromagnetic electric universe theory and those physics, the laws of physics, the conscious mind would be very much electricity, and the subconscious, which is the negative pole, right? Because it's it's the point where it starts to come back in on itself, and it starts to be more receptive and take in energy and take in the information and take it in for itself and its own healing and its own sustenance of its own organism or its own life, so it can be a gravitational field. So it can be matter, it can be mass, it can exist in the universe, because all physical matter has an electromagnetic quality to it. And so if the subconscious mind is the negative, then it's going to be magnetism, electricity and magnetics. So we have electromagnetic, and that's the whole structure of the universe. Without getting into the whole idea of plasma, won't be getting into that into this video, but so yeah, we see the coming in on itself and kind of the restitution, and also the part of the electromagnetic field that is very heavy, and it draws things in. It draws the energy back in, because in order to sustain itself, it needs to be on a conscious, or it needs to be on a system of repeating itself, and it needs to be on a system of automation, kind of, So that's what the subconscious role is that automation. It's the automation of our intentional thoughts that we do with our conscious mind, and it's the automation of all of our habits, all of our actions, behaviors, words, the input that we take in through entertainment, through our experiences in life, our relationships, it's all going into the subconscious so that it can be processed and utilized to the best of its ability. So it is very important that you feed your consciousness with the best quality stuff, best quality people, best quality information, best quality food, so you can get that ingrained into your subconscious programming. So going on to the unconscious, which is the most mysterious thing and the hardest thing to talk about, but it is my favorite because it is the center of that. It's the still points of the electromagnetic field where magnetic energy can pass on into electric energy to keep the system going, to keep the cycle of its existence going. And the neutral point is the most powerful point. It's the still point energy. It's a lot of new technology that'll be coming out later that we don't know exists right now on a mass scale is 0 point energy and things that don't take other resources to power and generate. And that's essentially what the human being is. If we get to a point that we start to identify the unconscious with, then we get to see that there's less and less that we need in external resources. So the more we uncover with our conscious mind, we can allow the unconscious information that we don't know of into it. And I'll be making another video on this concept, but not in terms of the body. So this is it. This is the still point is the heart, and it's the transmitter and the defector between the subconscious and conscious mind, the thoughts and kind of the knowing in yourself. Those primal instinctual feelings that we get that go beyond logic, that are illogical, and yet they are quintessential to our survival. And so it's really important that we kind of know this dynamic and know our own consciousness more, because what the human mind is consistent and is birthed from is consciousness. And it's really important that we all kind of understand these basic premises. So without further ado, I think that wraps it up, and I hope to see you on the next one. Thank you.